Interesting. There can never be anything like too much information. Permit me to quote the Bible here. When the Bible says that ask and you shall receive. And there is one cardinal rule that I've always had from day one. It is what you visualize or what you write down is what you get done. Let me tell you one funny thing, because sometimes I can be very extra. When I came to New Brunswick, so they always there's something called certificate of landing. Oh gosh, I forget all these things. When all those things looks like big deal, then I mean, when you now get these things, when you get your permanent residency, you get your citizenship, it looks commonized. But trust me, there's a whole lot of process that has gone through it, and those processes they're not easy. What does cultural diversity mean to you? And that's it. And what does it mean to me? Whether you're from any part of the world, regardless of your religion, your belief, your culture, the color of your skin, everybody's one. When fantasies are clouding your head, the reality knocks on the door. So you can be beclouded by a lot of fantasies. But what is the reality? The reality is how much you are worth, how much is in your pocket, or how much can you. Trust me, I want to have an helicopter, I want to have a private jet. But the question is, can I afford it? The answer is no.
So it's very important that you understand that a lot of people are trying to sell you stuff. And even if it's exciting that you're eligible for stuff like this, always make sure to understand the fine print. There is always a penalty for not paying stuff on time.
True.
And if you don't
there is no free lunch in banking. That's what they say.
Exactly. For me, having those conversations is not about being in the best financial situation. It's about having the knowledge for when you need those services.
Preach it, City.
Right? So that's how I look at it. And in my opinion, finances, we can debate about it, but it's the most important thing, in my opinion, that everybody should have knowledge about.
Financial literacy is very important. Like, I remember going even to an high school here, talking to teenagers about financial literacy. Winter is coming, girl.
Hello, and welcome to another full episode of No Right, No Wrong. My names are Chitru Chinemeren Chinato Chehira Wuju. Better still, you can call me CT. I'm excited to actually be here for another episode. I've been trying to make this work now for a while. I'm really excited, and I have a very special guest for you all today, and I can't wait to introduce him to you guys. And his name is Folusho Iyaniwura. Welcome, Folusho.
Thank you very much, City. As City rightly said, my name is Folusho Iyaniwura, originally from Nigeria. I don't have lots of names like City does. My name is just Folusho, so you can call me Folusho. That's my name. I'm originally from Nigeria. I immigrated to Canada in 2018. I am a trained lawyer, but I actually work in a bank. I've worked in a bank for close to 18 years now. I moved to Fredericton, specifically in New Brunswick, in 2018, and it's been great so far. Good experience. I love it, and I'm glad. So City and I, we've been trying to get on this No Right, No Wrong show for a while now, and just to talk about my personal experience, and I'm glad that we could actually make it work today. So thanks, City, for having me.
I'm super excited to actually get this done. So I can't wait to actually basically get into the questions and the things and the experiences that I would like to basically discuss about. The first thing that I wanted to get into it about is, I remember you coming into the city, basically being great at like getting people together in this city. Everybody would basically attest to that. So the first thing I wanted to get into is your process of relocating to Canada from Nigeria as a professional. Exactly what that actually took, and your experience in general relocating from Nigeria to Canada.
Yeah, thanks, City, for that question. Surprisingly, I mean, it looks like yesterday, but it's actually 6 years, a whole long
It's been a
time.
while.
Um, in fact, it's going to be 7 years in January. So when I look back, the first thing, like to answer your question, what's the process like and how did I get here? I think I always ask myself, first question when I came in 6 years ago, I asked myself, so why am I here? Because trust me, it's a whole paradigm shift coming from Lagos, Nigeria. If anybody knows Lagos, Nigeria is like the biggest city in Africa, or they say West Africa, but I always say Africa, biggest city in Nigeria and West Africa, coming from a city with 32 million people and coming to New Brunswick and Fredericton specifically with a population about less than 100,000 people. I woke up the next day after a long 16-hour flight and I was like, where's everybody? Like, it was like,
Did you actually arrive in the summer, fall, winter? Like that's an interesting question because the the difference is actually unique depending on the time of the year you come in.
True, I agree. Trust me, it was in the peak of winter, January 2018. I can never forget. However, the good thing is that I've had experiences traveling, but that was the biggest time in my life where I would see snow. So my best friend back then in Nigeria, Remy, he came to, I think you've met him once, one of those trips that from Toronto. He came to school sometime in 2015. So we're in Nigeria then, wanted to come and come to school in Canada. So, but he left before me, and I've been coming to Canada to visit him. So I've had that experience in December, not too much, maybe like 3 weeks visit, and went back to Nigeria. But when I came in the peak of winter. It was so cold. Like I've never in my life had to kit up like that. So it's
Yeah.
crazy.
Yeah, I think it's a very unique experience because when you say that, I'm like, it's very unique when you actually arrive here in winter compared to when you arrive in summer. Maybe you get a few months to adjust to the weather, but when you come in January, it's a shock.
Trust me, I already had my um, winter jacket prepared, all the socks and all the boots. And I mean, coming from Nigeria, nobody wears winter jacket, nobody wears boot. But trust me, I mean, overall the experience has been great. I'll tell you, New Brunswick in 2018 and New Brunswick in 2024, it's a total different ballgame. We've had, I mean, you've known what the province has done in terms of population growth and retention, people from all over the face of life. And you talk about how did I settle? I believe that integration, no matter where you're coming from, whether you're from Asia, Africa, in any part of the world, I think the importance of cultural diversity in a town or a province like this cannot be overemphasized. I'll talk about my personal experience, I mean, on how it all flows into all of this. So when I came in 2018, like I said, coming from a big city, I do not know anybody. Left family back home. I was like, okay, I want to. I used to work in one of the biggest banks in Nigeria before I came here, and I was like, okay, I want to get international banking experience, and I want to use that opportunity to have an MBA. So that's the major reason why I relocated from Nigeria to Canada. So coming to Canada, coming to Fredericton, New Brunswick specifically, um, it was a total different cultural shock for me in terms of number one, population, number two, leaving family and friends behind, and number three, just trying to integrate into a community where you know nobody. And this brings me to the importance of networking. For me, it was very, very important to integrate into the society and to network because I needed to, number one, find a job. Number two, I needed to start my MBA, which I did not even know how to go about it. But of course, the resources are there. But the importance for me, the important point I want to note is the issue of networking. It really, really helped me, like not only put a toe forward, plus two legs inside because I was able to network. And people always often ask, how are you able to do it? Trust me, start by just talking, meeting people, saying hello. So I'll give you an experience that happened to me. So when I came to in January 2018, I got my first job by February 2018. And people often ask me, how did I do it? It was networking. From the first day I landed in Canada, the Airbnb I stayed before my apartment was ready, luckily for me, was somebody from Africa. And they asked me, oh, okay, so what are you here? Why did you leave Nigeria? What are you doing here? They thought that maybe I came from school. I said I came here to work. They were like, oh, do you have a job already? I said, no, but I'm going to get a job. The guy just smiled. I was like, well, what do you do? I said, oh, I have so amount of experience in commercial banking in Nigeria. And I was like, oh, that same night, even before I put my bags in the room, in the Airbnb room, because it was a shared apartment, it was like, oh, I know somebody that works with CIBC. I can introduce you on Monday. And I was like, sure. And guess what? That's how I got my first job. Just because I spoke. The importance of networking. And guess what? When I went to that job, there was a networking event that I attended, and I met somebody that is right now a senator in Canada. Her name is Krista Ross. And from there, I started entering the society, going for events, Planet Arch, Ignite Fredericton. I joined the Fredericton Chamber of Commerce. I was a member of the Immigration Advocacy Committee, just rendering our voices, rendering our support. And from there, I just started going up and meeting people. In fact, in 2021, I remember I won the Champion of Cultural Diversity Award just by bringing people together. I formed a group back in the campus there and just asking people, what do they need? How can they integrate in the society? Because a whole lot of people, they don't even know anybody here. Oh, talking of it, that's the award right there.
Yes, I can see that. And you said that was back in 2021.
2021.
Oh, okay. So, just to mention that, is that the Champion of Cultural Diversity that was given to you by the province?
Yes. The New Brunswick Multicultural Council,
yeah,
and BMC. So they just they have different categories.
Yeah.
So the specific one, the Champion of Cultural Diversity, showcases individuals who've been in the province for long and they're contributing their quota. Like maybe you volunteer, just contributing to the society, trying to integrate people. So how did I win the Champion of Cultural Diversity? Like you said, when you introduced me, you said I like to bring people together.
Yeah.
Just bringing people together, hanging and having an informal hangout session and asking them, okay, so what are your challenges about coming to Canada? What do you need to settle? How can we help you settle? Do you want a job? Or is there anybody that knows somebody in maybe banking, agriculture, any type of industry that can help you, just place you in different jobs, send your CV to people even help you with resume. And as even little big things, like some people call it little, but some people say it's big, like just telling people I'm coming to New Brunswick, I need somebody to pick me up at the airport. Very important.
I think that's also an important part, right? Like basically reaching out to actually help and serve the community as well, right? Now, when you said that, with the interesting thing about networking is a lot of people actually struggle with what are the skills you actually need to have to be good at networking. I think a lot of people struggle with it because one thing you actually said was the fact that on the first day that you arrived, you were able to actually open your mouth and speak and talk about your skills, what you have, and what you're looking for, right? And to some people, that's too much information a lot of times to just tell somebody you meet on the first day.
Interesting. There can never be anything like too much information. Permit me to quote the Bible here. When the Bible says that ask and you shall receive. And there is one cardinal rule that I've always had from day one. It is what you visualize or what you write down is what you get done. Once you write it down, you get it done. Once you visualize it, you get it done. If you want something, if you need something, you ask. I do not live inside your mind. I do not know what you want. So just by asking, and you ask me what skill, number one skill, I will say do not be shy. Hello, hi. So for example, if what works for me, when you're invited to maybe an event, maybe just even hang out, maybe a birthday party, just something as informal, not even a formal event, try to talk to somebody. Just try to talk to somebody.
I think the first thing is show up.
No, show up early. If it's formal event, I would say show up early. If informal, show up. But some people, they're always on their phones. To each his own, I do not judge. But just talk to somebody. You never can tell. I've had hangouts personally in my house where people come and I introduce them to somebody and I hear, oh, by the way, the person introduced me to help me get a job. Let's talk.
Okay.
Open up.
Yeah.
Speak. Don't be shy.
Don't be shy. So one thing that I heard you say there is don't be shy about actually networking. And when you look at the don't be shy, why do you think some people struggle with putting themselves out there other than shy? Like when it comes to how they view themselves or how they view other people in terms of being helping them out or being of service to them, whatever the case might be. Like, in your opinion, what do you think is actually limiting people from? Because a lot of people always tell me, oh, I'm a shy person. And my first thing is, nah, none of us are really shy.
Trust me, when they're with their friends, everybody's shy.
When they are comfortable.
True.
I always like, oh, I'm so shy. But when I'm with the people that I feel good and comfortable around, I can talk all day. I'm like, so why are you uncomfortable around other people? It's not that you're a shy person. You need to get comfortable first.
True. And I totally agree with you. I mean, in my own opinion, I would say maybe the reason why people do not like to open up, and this is my personal opinion, no right, no wrong.
Yeah.
I believe that maybe people do not want people to know their business, which is very okay. But if it's a business that would take you to the next level, trust me, I think you should speak up. For example, if you're needing help to settle, you want to change jobs, you want to change career, just talk to somebody. One thing that I would state also, and that is one thing I like about the community here, especially in New Brunswick as a whole, in Canada, moving to Canada, another thing that's really, really helped, and it is not my own doing, it is a collective, as an individual, as a community. In every society that you find yourself, especially in New Brunswick, I use New Brunswick as an example, or even in Canada as a whole, there is no way that you go into a community and there is no community WhatsApp group. Now, those community WhatsApp group, trust me, nobody likes forwarded messages. Nobody likes to just be in groups because they want to agree in groups. But those groups, they're very useful resource to getting information that you want. So when I first came, I'm going to use a funny example. When I first came, how did I find out how to process a driver's license? Or how do I get on the road? Trust me, I got the information from the community WhatsApp group. How do I get my insurance? Not that I couldn't read online, but trust me, Nigerians always find a way. They call it the ease of doing business. Not cutting corners, but they will tell you how to do it step by step. Those information, I found it on the community WhatsApp group for Nigerians. So trust me, you can be a passive attendee or passive group member or active group member as you like it. But I think it's important that if you can join those groups just for information's sake, and you can also help others as well, share your experience. Those things are very, very important. One other thing, volunteering in the community is very, very good. When I came to Canada, I asked myself, so how do I put myself out there? How do I showcase myself? How do I not only have one leg at the door, but both foot in the door? How do I create a pathway for myself? How do I see the light at the end of the tunnel? I volunteered in the community. I volunteered for the immigration advocacy committee during, I remember, I think pre-COVID or post-COVID, I can't remember the period, because of the good work I do in the community or the volunteering that I've done. the government of Canada actually handpicked me as part of the people to do something called the mentor for study and stay. So in the province of New Brunswick as a whole, they realized that, and this really points to a very interesting question, small cities and big cities. They realized that when people come to New Brunswick, they just come to school, majority come to school, and after schooling, they just pack their bags and go to bigger cities like Toronto, Montreal, Calgary. So they actually wanted people that have showcased themselves in New Brunswick, attach them to mentors, talk to them and retain people in the province and just help them navigate the way.
So one thing that I also wanted to point out is that when you decided to relocate to Canada, I'm just curious because this could be a number of reasons, because you said you wanted to do an MBA program and all that. Any specific reason why you chose New Brunswick or outside of the big city? Yeah, I'm just curious because I think there are thousands of reasons
Oh
for
my
me.
gosh. Oh, this question is actually very, very funny. But the reason why it's funny is because I asked myself, why New Brunswick? And this is the honest answer. There is honest, straightforward answer. New Brunswick is the only province that gave me an opportunity to come to Canada. That's just it. And if you want me to expatiate and give it a backed up story, I tell people that are close to me, they care to listen. So this is the real story. I was in Nigeria working my ass out. I loved working in Nigeria. I loved working in the bank. I was enjoying it. I was doing very well. But I looked at myself, I said, you know what? I think it's nice to leave when the ovation is loudest. I wanted to have international banking experience to my resume. I've always aspired to maybe one day be the managing director of a bank. So I said, okay, it's time for me to have international banking experience, see how banking is done in another country. And I chose Canada. And here I am in Nigeria. How do I go about it? So I just overheard, just by conversation, somebody standing by the window receiving a phone call that there's an information session in Dubai, that the province of New Brunswick is actually coming to Dubai to give an information session about moving to Canada. I was like, interesting. And guess what? Perfect timing. Opportunity met preparation. I was going to England for my sister's graduation. I was like, why can't I just pass through Dubai? The story is still coming. Why can't I just pass through Dubai? I was like, I looked at my Nigerian passport there now. In Nigeria, a good Nigerian at it. My Nigerian passport, no Dubai visa. And that time in Nigeria, they were denying young, unmarried men and even women visas to Dubai. I was like, oh God, how do I go about it? Okay, you know what? I booked my ticket to pass through Dubai and for onward journey to England. And the visa was denied. I said, okay, I'm not going to lose hope. I'm a fighter. I would reapply. And I reapplied and the visa did not come out. And I was like, I'm going to be in Dubai by hook, line, or sinker. And I was checking in. I was just standing, checking in. My agent was with me, or I don't know, some guy that helps me at the airport. And I was just checking, was like, oh, why am I not proceeding to drop my bags? I was like, no, let's just join the normal queue, Let's join the queue and, be on the queue. And as I was moving forward, of course, when you're trying to check in your bags, there's always a queue. I was moving forward. I was refreshing my email. This visa will come. I was talking to my agent, this visa will come. And lo and behold, before I got to the check-in line, I got my visa, Dubai visa. And that's why I boarded the plane. So I booked, I think, Emirates, I can't remember, for onward journey to London. So if I did not get the visa, I did a stopover in Dubai. I'll just have continued to England.
So basically, if you did not get that visa while at the check-in, you would have just basically gone to England and missed.
I'd gone for my sister's graduation, and I would maybe not have had the opportunity to have come to Canada then. And I went to Dubai 2 days. Oh God, lots. You know, when they came from New Brunswick, they were so overwhelmed at the number of Nigerians and Africans that were there. And God help me, there's something called invitation to apply. I got my ITA that same day because they will interview you. So they'll first do a presentation. This is New Brunswick. It has lots of cities, walking trails, schools for children. You know, they'll sell the province. That's what they were doing then. I don't know if they still do it now. You know, they used to go to Africa. They go to different continents just to attract population growth. Yeah. So I did an interview, got the invitation to apply, and I went for my sister's graduation in England. And when I came back to Nigeria, I applied. 1 year after, I found myself in New Brunswick. So to answer your question, long story short, why New Brunswick? Thank you very much, New Brunswick, for giving me the opportunity to come here, become a citizen in 3 years, and I'm loving it so far. Nice, peaceful, quiet. I love it.
And I love stories like that, right? Because you look back at 2018, I always tell people that it's important to go to a place that wants you. The thing with New Brunswick then, as you said, is a lot of people just came to study and they left the province. So they weren't actually keeping highly qualified people, which opened up a space for you to actually come in based on your qualifications. Because I always say there are two parts to every conversation. One, they sell you on the province, and now you got to sell yourself to them why they should bring you in. So I think that was a very interesting and beautiful story about it. The fact that, as honestly as you can, and that's where your opportunity came.
Let me tell you one funny thing, because sometimes I can be very extra. When I came to New Brunswick, so they always there's something called certificate of landing. Oh gosh, I forget all these things. You know, when all those things looks like big deal, then I mean, when you now get these things, when you get your permanent residency, you get your citizenship, it looks commonized. Mm-hmm. But trust me, there's a whole lot of process that has gone through it, and those processes they're not easy. Anyways, you fill your certificate of landing to show that you have the intention. So what I like that the province did, and this is very, very important, I mean, it's not just coming to New Brunswick and just say, oh, I've landed, and you carry your bags and go to Toronto or go to Calgary. Trust me, I had those urges to go to Toronto because that's where all my friends are. Before I got my permanent residency, before I got my invitation to apply, I used to come to Canada. In fact, during my application process, the application officer queried my application and said, we've seen that you've been coming to Canada. Are you sure that when you get this permanent residency, you're not going to take off to Toronto? I was like, look, I applied to be in New Brunswick. I would be in New Brunswick. I will stay in New Brunswick, and I will make my impact in New Brunswick. And that's exactly what I'm doing today. When I came, instead of filling that certificate of landing and just sending it to them, I filled it. I went to their office, Population and Growth Division, to show in person that I am here to stay. And I saw the guys that interviewed me. I forget their names. Oh gosh, wonderful guys. And I was like, remember interviewing me that day? This is me. I am here to stay, and I'm here to make my impact.
Oh yeah. I think those are really beautiful stories in my opinion, right? Because one thing that is very common is a lot of times when we immigrate from Africa and whatever, a lot of people just know about all these big cities, but what they don't tell you is that the more everybody wants to be in a place, the more difficult it is to get in there, right? And the less your opportunity is when you're the newest person in the block. Sometimes you want to go to where they want you. New Brunswick needed you and other professionals internationally, right? And I'm saying this right now to also say that it might not be the same in 2024, just because now over the last few years, a lot of people have come in. Now they're trying to cut back on immigration.
Trust me, before I used to say that there is no how I know everybody in this town. But right now I just see some face, I'm like, who are these people? Like, when did they come? Like, there's so many, and honestly, it's a good thing. There's so many people from different walks of lives, different continents, different countries, Angola, Zimbabwe, Zambia, Cote d'Ivoire, every people from different walks of life are in New Brunswick. Different African countries, not even Africa, Asians. I have friends from Iran,
Middle East.
yeah, Middle East. I have friends from Pakistan, India. Look, and that is what is called. That is what it brings me back to the topic of cultural diversity. That's what cultural diversity means to me. And surprisingly, that's one question that an interviewer asked me. My current job in the bank right now, that's the last question my hiring manager asked me that I think made me nail the job. What does cultural diversity mean to you? But that's it. And what does it mean to me? Whether you're from any part of the world, regardless of your religion, your belief, your culture, the color of your skin, everybody's one. And trust me, that's what New Brunswick has provided, an opportunity for everybody to come together and live in a nice community. I cannot believe that I did not pack my bags and go to Toronto after 6 years.
And let's talk about that. That would be the next thing I would like us to basically take a look at. When it comes to, in your opinion, like you have a lot of friends in Toronto. I do too. Basically, coming to study here, I have a lot of friends that have moved on to bigger cities, Toronto, Vancouver, Calgary, Edmonton, just to name a few in Canada. When you compare living in a smaller city and your friends or whatever in a big city, what would you say is I would call it advantages and disadvantages, but I'll also call it like benefits. I'll also call it like, what are the differences, the advantages? What is keeping people there? What is keeping people here, in your opinion, from what you observe about that? Because in my opinion, I get it. As at the time, a lot of my friends moved out of the province. This province wasn't a great place to be in terms of job opportunities, which has significantly changed. But when you look at it right now, relatively, what do you see in terms of that?
So I'm going to put a caveat. No right, no wrong. This is
absolutely that's the whole point. I'm just giving this my perspective. My
personal opinion. I always say that to each his own. Yeah. According to me, Folusho, as people in my office call me Folusho. According to me, Folusho, that's my name. Yeah. I believe there's a lot of different reasons. So I'm going to personalize it to myself. When I came, I wanted to leave. That's when I said, you know what, once I get my passport, I'm out of here. But I go to Toronto a lot. And I'm no more intrigued by all the tall buildings, the metro. I mean, trust me, England has the best metro to me. Toronto is just, they're still learning. So I've seen it all, going to England severally. My sisters live there. I travel a lot. So there's nothing that can freak me about those big cities again. Now, coming from Lagos, Nigeria, where, that is the commercial nerve center of traffic. Maybe second to Mumbai, India. My Indian friends, I say hello. No shade, but Lagos traffic. So I leave all those things behind and I come to New Brunswick and I can get to where I'm going in 10 minutes. Trust me, that's like heaven on earth. Now, compared to Toronto, where I go, because I go there all the time, I cannot count how many times I've driven from New Brunswick to Toronto. 14 hours. I fly, I drive. I've driven there maybe 5-6 times. I like to drive. And you're going 10 kilometers and you're spending 45 minutes. You're going 15 kilometers, you're spending... And trust me, it's population growth.
2 hours.
It is not their fault.
Yeah.
People are coming. And the way they look at it, anybody that says, oh, I'm going to Canada, they think that you're in Ontario, Toronto. Toronto is and it's like the Lagos of Canada. So I'll say New Brunswick is if you're familiar with geography in Nigeria, I'm from the south,
southwest.
I'm from the Yoruba speaking part of Nigeria. And I would liken New Brunswick to the Osun State, your state, not like Lagos. But trust me, people also live there. They're living good lives.
So what would think of Ogun is so good, is so close to Lagos that it feels like Montreal, maybe.
No way. I would say Halifax, Ogun, and Lagos would be like Halifax, New Brunswick.
Okay.
I would say, trust me, I would say Oshogbo. Like Ilesha, where I'm from, it's like the how I can liken it to Nigeria, like the Lagos. If you want to look at the distance between Lagos and Ilesha, would be same thing like looking at Toronto and New Brunswick. That's what I used to compare.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. In terms of developments, like people will say we live in a bush, but guess what? People that say we live in a bush, I've had friends come here from, I don't know if you're around that time. I've had like 8 of my friends go into their cars, 2 or 3 cars. They drove all the way from Toronto to come and spend, I think, Thanksgiving with me 2 or 3 years ago.
Yeah.
Yes.
And just to
And
give,
they love it here.
and it's a very interesting thing. And just to give my take on the smaller city versus bigger city conversation is, I'm a little biased to it, but it goes back to your point. Like, in my opinion, when I live in a city like New Brunswick or Fredericton, I can always go to the big cities, but I don't want to live there.
True.
The hassle, as you said, is a lot. I can get a whole lot more done. 10 minutes drive, you see your friends more often. When I go see my friends in bigger cities, it takes about 45 minutes and they barely.
Trust me, I just tell all of them to come to a focal point so that we can meet and just hang out. But another thing that I missed out, talking about the differences, in my opinion, is job opportunities.
Yeah.
So I actually do not blame a lot of people if they say, you know what, bye New Brunswick, I'm going to Toronto, I'm going to Montreal, I'm going to Calgary.
Yeah.
It's the job. There's some certain jobs that you cannot find in New Brunswick. And I say that specifically because I work in a bank. There's some certain roles that is either you're in Montreal or you're in Toronto. Like there is no IT support role in the banks where all the banks I've worked. I've worked in like 4 banks. Wow, 4 banks in my 6 years here. Yeah, and there's some roles that that's centralized to Toronto. You have to be in Toronto. You have to be in Montreal. You have to be in Halifax. So I do not blame them when they're looking for greater. Trust me, everybody's looking for green.
Oh yes.
Everybody's looking for good opportunities.
I agree with you. Like, I have no problem with that. There are many roles, mining. There are different things that you could be into, and geography actually matters. Like, you get into some profession, you got to be in the center of where it's happening. If you're going to be managing or whatever, they want you to be right in the middle of the action. So I get why people go to those big cities as well, depending on your specific need. The only thing that I have to add to that is that, in my opinion, right, the world is becoming a little bit more global. The cost of living in big cities
I was gonna say that as well.
Yeah, the cost of living in big cities is a lot, and I see people that their jobs doesn't necessarily need them to be in big cities.
True.
And I'm like, it might not be a great decision or a great trade-off for the cost of living when most or some people's jobs are remote. You can be very effective. There are lots of jobs these days that you don't need to be in the office. I'm not talking for the people that absolutely need to be there. I just think that the allure, the drive, like, to go to a big city, if you don't, like, if your ambitions and goals doesn't need you to be there, it's not as necessary as it used to be before. And I think this played out during the pandemic as well. And the population shift from the bigger cities.
Look at the price of real estate. A typical example. Why do people like this side of town? Real estate is cheap and it appreciates. I think I was looking at a study and they said New Brunswick, in terms of property appreciation, I think 35% or 25%, I cannot remember. But during pandemic, and even now, it is the fastest growing in terms of property appreciation. I do not have absolute numbers to back it up, but in terms of percentage, what I've read, trust me, property appreciation in New Brunswick is, you cannot compare.
And for me,
and it is cheap. You can buy cheap and maybe exit Good if you want to.
For me, the exit part is the most important part, and not to throw shade or whatever, but when everybody sees something good, everybody wants to come in, and suddenly there's too many people.
True.
And that can actually lead to a problem. But what I'm saying is, in my opinion, I always say when a potential is untapped, that might be when you want to get it,
I agree.
because everybody's going to soon find out that that place is a great,
and it becomes saturated.
it becomes saturated. So for me, that's the interesting point. I think a lot of people haven't actually adjusted to how global our world is and how much you can get done without being physically present in a specific location. But I think that's also interesting. And you just talked about real estate, which gets you to my point, which is the interesting thing. And this is basically more of a comparison thing. I know you have bought a house here in New Brunswick, and you also bought a house back in Nigeria. As a Nigerian or an African, I'm very curious to hear the story or your experiences between the differences or what people need to know in comparison about buying a house in Nigeria and the experience buying a house in Canada, and what they should know about that.
Good question. I'll tell you, it's a total different ballgame. And with no shade to Nigeria, it's just the process here very fast and seamless. No backdoor dealing, straight to the point. You see what you like. And of course, they're important. Nigeria's their listings.
Yeah.
But I cannot remember. No, maybe there are a few websites that you can go where they list properties, but here is just, I think the process is seamless. Not to say that the process in Nigeria is not seamless, but I think the process here, if I would rank it, I think the process here is faster, more seamless. And there are two ways. You can use a realtor or you approach the builder directly, whichever your preference is. For me, it gave me a hands-on experience on the process of building, because I did not have that experience in Nigeria. I just bought outright
A house that was already
yeah,
complete.
but here I could see how it started. Like I remember physically, they showed me the land. I remember seeing the land, signing the document, and I remember I still have pictures of how the structures step by step. And the good thing is that you had the opportunity to choose what you want in terms of fittings, like the light. I did not know what was called shingle. Is it shingle until sidings until I came to Canada, because Nigeria is brick and mortar. Yeah, so I knew the difference between sidings, and it's funny. Like culture is different. Like in back home in Nigeria, everything is tap, 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 tap. Yeah. And I was hearing things like faucet. Like, not that I've not heard that word before, but you now see the difference. Like you splash and like you just call these things styles, or backsplash. And like, okay. And for me, it was a learning process, and I loved it because I was able to be part of the process ab initio from day one till I got my keys. And I've had that process too as well when I was, of course, venturing into other properties, which is good. I just loved it. It was seamless.
Oh yeah, and just to get back to that point, I think it's interesting because would you say most people actually go through the same I don't think most people go through the process of building and their houses. A lot of people see a listing, it's on a ready-made house, even here in Canada.
Oh yeah, and those ones are nice as well. Like it depends. Like I always say, my favorite saying, to each his own. Like, if for me it was important at that time I just wanted something new. So not that I did not see, almost like to each his own. Like I saw some other way. I just wanted, okay, you know what? I'm not under pressure. I can just wait and see the building process. And have I seen other listings that are really nice? Of course. Yes. So I mean, it depends. And the process is very easy. Go online, find a realtor, find what you like, make an offer, talk to your realtor, the bid on it. In 2 or 3 days time, all the offers are in. Pray your bid wins. You win the offer. And there's also a backstory. The backstory of having your pre-approved mortgage.
I was gonna get there because I think that was a very important step that was skipped because a lot of things that happen in Nigeria, you don't need credit. You gotta have your money ready.
Cash and carry, bro.
Cash and carry. So
but there are mortgage institutions in Nigeria that provide.
I want to know about that.
Mortgage financing as well. I've had opportunities to work with some of them.
In Nigeria?
Yes, in Nigeria, but I don't have any. So in Nigeria, there's Nigeria is actually a very interesting country rather. There is a lot of information out there. There's a lot of processes out there that people do not even know about. Like, do you know in Nigeria, there's a structure that the Lagos state government is putting together, and I think the federal government also wants to replicate it, where you can actually do rent to own. It's like a mortgage. And I was actually part of it in Nigeria, where you apply and gradually you pay like a mortgage until you own the house.
So the interesting thing with the Nigeria, what is the approval process, right? Since we don't have a solid credit system, like a credit score process.
The approval process, I think there are actually a lot of credit ratings companies that in Nigeria that has actually sprung up. But the efficiency and how it goes about, I cannot really remember. No. But what I know is that for them to give you something like that in Nigeria, I remember my process very well. You must work in a reputable organization. You show your pay stubs. You show your salary because it is from your salary that the monthly payments will come out. And what is also important is that your human resources must write a commendation letter to you, like a guarantee that, oh, this guy works here, this person works here, this is how much he or she earns, and he or she has the ability to do obligation as at a when due, and they would even tell you to state your loans. I remember, because they also do things like debt service ratio, but a lot of people don't know. They want to say, okay, is this person overly leveraged? Can this person pay this mortgage? So they have those things in Nigeria, but a whole lot of people do not know. Maybe they need to create that awareness, because rent to own is also like mortgage here. Because you pay little by little. So going back to the approval process, trust me,
that's
before you venture into buying a house in Canada.
So that's the approval process in Canada.
You must have a pre-approval.
Okay.
The pre-approval says, okay, CT, DG, Shola, Bimbo, whatever, has been pre-approved for a mortgage of so amount. Now, you cannot be pre-approved for a mortgage of, say, $300,000, and you're looking for a house of $700,000, except you have deep pockets. You must show the bank where the remaining equity is coming from. And the good thing about the Canadian system that I like is like, well, not whether I like it or not, that is the system, and that is law, and it works for them. You cannot just have like $100,000, $500,000 in your account, and you go to the bank and you say you want a mortgage, except you want to pay it outrightly. The money must have been there for at least 3 months. So they want to see trend. Of course, I think, because of money laundering.
And also, we also know that you can put money together from different places and send it back out.
So they want to block all those loopholes. So, like I said, you look for a house within your budget, your pre-approval, and once you get a house, you can always change your pre-approval to an approval, and they'll ask you for your 5% down payment. I think for new owners now, I think I read something online. There are a lot of Nigerians that do mortgages. They do mortgages, and I read about them on their WhatsApp forum. I think you can go up to 30 years amortization now. Before it was 25 years. Now, as a first-time home buyer, you can take advantage of 5% down payment and go up to 30 years amortization, which was not there before. And PRs are allowed, of course, to buy houses. So if there's any advice I can give anybody that is listening to this, whether no part of whatever, wherever area you are, wherever you are, listening to this, if you come to Canada, one of the advice that I would tell you is, if you have the resources, buy a house on time. If you have deep pockets, or maybe I would say, first advice, save. if like preparation always meets opportunity. So imagine you being prepared
For an
and an opportunity just comes
up. Yeah.
Like I had a situation recently that I was prepared, an opportunity just came and I just latched onto it because I was prepared. And how was I prepared? Just save your money.
Yeah.
Trust me. It pays at the end of the day.
Oh yeah,
it pays at the end of the day.
I always say a lot of all these things is you gotta know yourself, know how ready you are, and always prepare for an opportunity.
To thyself be true.
Exactly.
That's one of my greatest sayings. To thyself be true.
Exactly.
If you know yourself, just do what is best for you. And you cannot. I don't want to speak
I'm sorry to cut you short, but I'm very curious. How do you? I'm just going to make a random example here, as something about buying a house in Canada. How do you calculate the price for a house? Like just a random thing that you would be eligible for. So let's say, for example, you make 100,000 a year. How do you want to figure out the value of the house you want to get into? Because I think that's also something that a lot of people don't have enough information on. Because in my opinion, you make 100,000 a year. Do you want to be living in a $1 million house? But people go in for that because that seems like you're making a lot of money.
That's a gap.
So for you as a banker, where is a good sweet spot? And we're going to use 100,000 because it's easier. How much should the full value of the house you'll be looking at that average steady income for the next 5 to 10 years?
So I would leave it as an open-ended question, and I'll leave the questions to the banks. So I am not.
This is an advice to someone looking to buy a house, not for the bank.
Okay.
The banks always.
I'm not a mortgage specialist.
Okay.
I'm not a mortgage specialist, and trust me, even when I wanted to buy my house or when I wanted to buy an investment property, I still sought the opinion of the mortgage specialist and the bank. So there is no hard and fast rule, and there's no. So I'll tell you the basic. It's the simple law of life. Trust me, you can dream of anything. You can dream of a $100 million house. You can dream of a $1 million house. I have a lot of saying. When
let's hear one more saying.
When fantasies are clouding your head, the reality knocks on the door. So you can be beclouded by a lot of fantasies. But what is the reality? The reality is how much you are worth, how much is in your pocket, or how much can you. Trust me, I want to have an helicopter, I want to have a private jet. But the question is, can I afford it? The answer is no. That's why I said I will leave the questions for the bank. So there's something called total debt service ratio. You might desire a $500,000 house, but if your income does not support it, there is no way that you'll be able to afford a house. Now, of course, if you're going in with your partner, so there is not just you. If you're married or you have a partner,
double income.
Yeah, double income. So that's why I said I will leave the questions to the bank, because there's a lot of assessment that goes behind the scenes that gets you what you want. But the answer is called total debt service ratio.
Can you
What is the ratio of your income
to
how much you can afford? Because you have to calculate your loans. For example, if you have car loans, if you have personal loans, if you have credit cards, if you have line of credit, everything goes to your total debt service ratio to calculate how much you are eligible for. So if you're eligible for a $500,000 house based on your income, all well and good. It belongs to you.
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. I just wanted to shed more light to that because it's very easy to. I think more people overestimate themselves more than properly valuing or underestimating themselves. And I think that can very quickly become a snowball of having too much debt in a country where the economy is serviced by debt.
Trust me, everybody's been there. And it brings a very interesting question, very interesting point. Everything back home, like Nigeria, where I'm from, is cash and carry. I never had a credit card until I came to Canada. Even when I used to travel just for holidays, it's cash and carry. You fund your debit card, you go to the bank machines abroad, either you have your personal travel allowance, you go to the bank machine, it withdraws foreign coins, and that is what you spend. now some people do have the opportunity to have a credit card if you have deep pockets. Like I know some banks used to provide credit card, but I'd never had a credit card until I came to Canada. Trust me, when you come to Canada, they'll start you off with $500,
Newcomers credit
$200,
card.
$1,000.
Is that what we call it? Secured cards.
Before I knew it, I don't want to mention the figures. I was already giving large limits that I'm like,
You're capable. They're like,
what am I doing here? I mean, you are carrying 2 cards or 1 card, and you're already a millionaire in Naira. Or, do you understand? Like, but trust me, all those things they say it is for you to build credit. It is also for you to spend.
I'm in
I'm
pure
not
debt.
saying, exactly. I'm not saying it is what you have that you spend. If you don't have it, you don't spend it.
But I think I'm going to say this for new immigrants into Canada and Western countries. That allure of actually seeing so much money available to you, it's important to know it's not your money. And when you spend it, you pay 20%, whatever the interest rate. It's not your money.
I agree with you, Sid, and I wish one day I'm able to literally sit down and say, how much have I actually paid back
in interest? Yeah.
So there was actually one time. So, oh God, I love the system so much. There was one time that I know, like, there's no hard and fast rule. If you pay your credit card on time, there is no interest. So me, I always have my tricks. I pay it down on time. If I want to make a large purchase, I wait until the last day before the statement day is generated. Put a large purchase. You know, it gives you
1 full month.
1 full month. So it gives you 21 days. No, before the statement is generated, is another 25 days. Then after 25 days, it gives you another 21 days to pay back. So effectively, I have like some. So I always. But after some time, I realized, man, I couldn't keep up because the bank has to collect interest. So there's sometimes that I'm late, but I try not to be late, and that is what makes your credit score really, really goes down. Because
if you miss a
there's
payment,
there's missed payment. There's utilization, high utilization. There is high balances. Trust me, there's just, if you want to, a lot of people just think, oh, TransUnion, what's the other one?
Equifax.
Trust me, go on Borrowwell.
It will show you all the information about what's going on.
Needs to tell you. And I think they have a conservative approach. Your credit score might be 700 on Equifax or 800 on Equifax, and 800 on TransUnion, 800 on Equifax. But Borrowwell will probably be 750 or 720 because I think they use a sensitized approach.
And because they're pulling all the information. But I think Borrowwell is actually great.
Oh, you've heard of it?
I use it.
Oh, nice.
Because it gives you the exact breakdown.
City, we need to talk to Borrowwell to come advertise on this channel.
Borrowwell now knows that if there's somebody that can say positive things, no right, no wrong is open for that. I can say positive things for now about Borrowwell. So yes, that
I didn't know about Borrowwell until recently.
I've been using it for at least 3 years.
I didn't know about it.
And if you're struggling with your credit, should I go ask for Borrowwell here?
When everything is nose diving, Borrowwell will illuminate, and you see.
You will actually know that you are in trouble.
And you know, it's funny. Like I had a situation recently. Like, gosh, and this is so personal. Like, so I had to go back home for something personal, and I was out of the country for like 2 months, and I had a credit card from a company. I don't want to mention names. I did not know the terms and conditions. It was just a 2,500 credit card that I used to buy some appliances. I didn't know the terms and conditions. I thought it was one of those credit cards that you just collect and it's not due until the final day. There's some promotions like that. I know
like
some people like
registration.
Best Buy, they have a promotion where you just buy stuffs and you don't pay until
for 1 month.
For 1 year. For 1 year.
Oh.
So I thought it was the same thing, and I just like imagine me having like 10 times that amount on one credit. I just took 2,005 on that credit card, and I just went to Nigeria, bought appliance, and I just went back home. And they kept on sending me these letters. Oh,
it's due.
It's due. And I just thought it was, it's due September 4, 2024. And I was home for like 2 months. So they couldn't reach me. because they were calling me. Apparently, I was supposed to be paying $25 every month, and I did not know.
For the offer. Oh, okay.
I did not know because the person I spoke to on the phone, just wanted to sell the credit card to me, and that's why it's very important to read the fine print.
Very important. They give you this. I think it's very important. Anytime you get any financial product or someone sells you something, read the slip that comes with it. I know those credit card slip.
A lot of people don't read those things, and trust me, they are voluminous. So now I take time to ask questions. I'll tell you, please. I've worked in a call center before. Anytime I call the call center, I'll just appeal to you. If you're trying to get me off the phone and you're not going to listen to me, just let me go and let me call some other day. Because I have plenty of questions. My background is law. I want to know the findings because I don't want to run into the problem I've run into before. So anyway, back to the 2005. I didn't know I was supposed to pay $25 every month. And I had accrued $25 for 3 months. Lo and behold, I come back to Canada and I see a collections letter in my mailbox. I was like, what is this? And they had to apparently send, because of $25 city, I had to deal with collections. So a lot of people actually do not know those things. But the good thing, I was able to recall it. I was like, you know what? I'm paying off this 2005 immediately. Get me off this. They were like, oh, we called you. I'm like, you called me, but did you get through to me?
Yeah.
Oh, they were like, oh, we sent you letters, but I was away. In Nigeria, I had a personal situation I had to go deal with. So it's very important to read the fine print.
Oh, yes.
Very important.
I think, and we're going to keep this mainly for new immigrants into Canada. It's very important that you understand that a lot of people are trying to sell you stuff. And even if it's exciting that you're eligible for stuff like this, always make sure to understand the fine print. There is always a penalty for not paying stuff on time.
True.
And if you don't
there is no free lunch in banking. That's what they say.
Exactly.
That's what I'm saying.
Yes.
I heard that one.
Yeah.
In Nigeria, there's no free lunch in banking.
At all. And the last part in this banking side that I just want to talk about would be your experience working for several years, over 10 years in Nigerian banking sector, and now working for over 6 years in the Canadian banking sector. I'm sure there are similarities between all of them. It's all banking. They're selling products. They're offering people, whether it's loans and stuff, when you need the money, and then you make a plan to pay back. And there are several services that the banking industry offers. When you look at the Nigerian banking industry, I think the main thing that we have as an issue is we don't have a credit score system, a proper way to analyze risk. Right?
True.
So, but how do you compare the similarities, the advancements going on before you left, and currently what you've seen in the Canadian banking industry?
Yeah, that's a very interesting question, CD. Thank you very much for asking that. The first point that I would like to state, I would like to touch on the issue of the credit rating system. Actually, I think that Nigeria has actually done a lot. I think there's a company called Credit Registry. I cannot remember. There's emergence of credit rating agencies in Nigeria to help people build their credit. So looking at the similarities and the differences, I think that one thing that will really help the Nigerian banking sector is availability of that credit rating system. Because what is important to lending as a banker is, I've been on the both sides of the divide. Like I've been a commercial banker. I'm a commercial banker lending loans to people, businesses. I've been a small business banker for small businesses and startup. I've also lent money on a personal side and on the business side. So I've been on both sides of the divide. What is important to the bank is the ability for the obligor, that's the borrower, to pay those loans as at and when due. The banks want their money back. There is no free lunch in banking. So if the Nigerian banking sector can come up with a way to actually strengthening the credit registry system and have access to credit bureaus, I think they will be able to lend more, because a whole lot of problems and non-performing loans is inability to pay back. Now, personally, what's the difference between the banking sector here and the banking sector there? One thing that was a culture shock to me is the fact that in Canada, it is very, very difficult for you to find a company or an entity, for example, ABC Limited, to have several banks accounts, like have a bank account in RBC, CIBC, Bank of Nova Scotia, BMO, TD Bank. Is one bank, one customer.
So you're talking more in like corporate English?
Yeah, okay. Corporate. Yeah, I'm talking corporate now. Okay. So that's for. I mean, that was a culture shock for me. Yeah. For like, okay, so it's just one bank. It's like a uniform system of government, like actual like one bank, one company. So it's a culture shock for me, which is actually I like it because everything comes to you. Then I'm not competing with any bank. The only thing I'm just ensuring is that I give them the best services, so that they do not. The risk of alteration to another bank is low. Zero. Yeah. Not low, zero. Barest minimum. I am the face of the bank in the client side. I'm the strategic, trusted partner. Do you understand? So that they don't want to go to bank B. Yeah. Now, in terms of difference on the personal side, I think I like the approach here in terms of it is more personable. Like you would have. You cannot just walk into a bank and say, yeah, I want to open an account. You have to book an appointment. Everything is structured. I like the structure that they book an appointment with you, and all the banks have walked in here. Before you come in, trust me, there's somebody at the door. You're at the door waiting to receive you. Yeah. I didn't see a whole lot of that in Nigeria. You just walk in and say, I want to open. I mean, just different folks.
Different folks. And also, they have a little bit more resources to apportion to.
And honestly, banking everywhere is the same. It's the same product, services, the same checking account, savings account. But of course, coming to Canada, you begin to hear things like TFSA, RRSP, that. I'm like,
retirement accounts.
What is this? It took me a whole lot of time to actually grasp understanding of what those things are, and those things are very, very important. Like tax-free savings account, that gives you tax sheltered investment, no tax. I think it's very, very important as a newcomer to Canada, and that's why I say this, and I say it and hear me well. When you come to a new society, a new community, whether you are from Iran, from Cote d'Ivoire, from Gambia, from Zimbabwe, from Nigeria, from Dubai, from Pakistan, India, any walk of life, trust me, there's usually information sessions in those communities that tell you about these things. Like I remember when I was at the bank, I presented to the Iranian community on banking. I presented to different Nigerian communities on banking as well. How to do business, how to start up. I was on the Planet Arch seed committee on granting loans, when I was in one commercial bank here before I moved to the one I'm working with now. They talk about how to help startup businesses grow. So trust me, those informations are out there. Guess what? There are even places where you can get grants, loans, but just find it, Google it, or Google it, or whatever you want to call it. Research it, and the information is there. But more often than not, people want you to spoon feed them. They want you to take them by their hand and
and also
and ask questions, ask people questions.
I also think a lot of people find it uncomfortable to talk about finances as well. It's something I've noticed with a lot of people. I get it that you might not be in the best financial position. That's all right.
Rome was not built in a day.
Exactly. And for me, having those conversations is not about being in the best financial situation. It's about having the knowledge for when you need those services.
Preach it, City.
Right?
Preach it.
So that's how I look at it. And in my opinion, finances, we can debate about it, but it's the most important thing, in my opinion, that everybody should have knowledge about.
Financial literacy is very important. Like I remember going even to an high school here, talking to teenagers about financial literacy.
Yeah, I absolutely agree. I just
very important.
Yeah, I think more people should be open to having conversations about money. I'm not saying we're trying to judge you for how much money you have, but you might want to listen and learn.
Even if there will be somebody that will have more.
Even the way you have. Yeah.
There will be a bigger Elon Musk. There will be a bigger Jeff Bezos, a bigger Bill Gates. So it really doesn't matter. Like I always say, to each his own, and it is not how much money you have in your pocket that determines your net worth.
Yeah.
That's what I think. Your net, and that's why people have this charismatic authority. There's political authority. You don't necessarily need to have money to be to have charismatic or political authority or any kind of authority.
But let's spend let's spend less than we make. Even in those other authorities,
of course,
I would expect them to also have some level of discipline or kind of knowledge.
Yeah, but me, I've always been an advocate of always putting aside something.
Exactly, like
because you never know when.
Absolutely, and I really think it's something that we should be having more conversation. Because what happens is people don't get it, but the genuine truth is the Canadian society. There's a banking system. There's a way that they even the banking system is what boosts and pushes the economy. So you need to understand what is the goal, why you're getting what you're getting, and why do they want you to own a home. They want you to own a home. Like, they absolutely want you, as long as you can pay for it, they genuinely want you to own a home. One, they make money off of it, but two, it also puts your roots in Canada.
Apart from that, it also shows responsibility, because if you, even in the when you're about to take your citizenship test, one of the obligations or rights is you have to be responsible.
Yeah.
And being responsible is the ability to take care of yourself and your family, even if you don't even own a home. Like, just
have a job, have something you're doing, stuff like that. I absolutely love that. One of the final topics that I wanted to get to would be a program that you're involved in. You're a director for a Youth Alliance program here in New Brunswick. Just to end this, I just wanted you to expatiate on what the work you're doing with that is.
So it's actually called Partners for Youth.
Yeah.
I'm a non-executive director. I just lend my expertise and voice. The Partners for Youth, they do a lot in terms of youth empowerment, helping them navigate. Because one thing I realize in the community is that a lot of people actually, especially youth, they come out of school, they don't know what direction to go, or maybe they've lost it along the way. They just try to help you navigate how you live your life, in terms of maybe helping you shape some decisions, helping you grow. If I providing, so they do a lot of youth camps, just to bring youth together to create awareness and help, stay off drugs, do a whole lot of things, just helping you be a better part of the society. So I volunteer there as a non-executive director, just to support.
Is that a government program as well, or private sector?
No, it's private sector initiative. It's called Partners for Youth.
Partners for Youth. Oh, that's
Fredericton. Yeah, Fredericton. Yes,
that's absolutely great. I actually think that when people coming out of high school, university, stuff like that, it's a very interesting or new phase that people got to navigate what they actually want to do.
It provides like a one-stop shop so they do a lot of camp activities across. They partner with schools and stuff to just help youth just navigate.
And what would you guys define as a youth? I always like asking this kind. Like, is it like you gotta not be married? Is it that under 30 years old? No, but it's interesting. Like, if someone is gonna come, like, who would you consider a youth in this program?
I mean, age-wise, I think from age 15 to, I don't know,
maybe 30, 35?
Yeah. I plead
No, but I like asking those questions because some people.
I think there's a dictionary definition of the age of what.
Yeah. But everybody, when they set up their own programs, they want to have their own like targeted audience, right? So I usually like asking that. So I'm guessing if you.
I think teenagers, like for that particular program, I think it ends at 18 or 19. Okay. I'm not sure.
Okay, no, that makes a whole lot of sense. I really appreciate that information. And just to basically wrap up the show, a little something that I do. The name of the podcast is No Right, No Wrong. So the real conversation for me is usually the why. Not really trying to take any sides or whatever, just want to have a conversation on what is going on. And a tradition I have is a little random dilemma question that I usually put out. And the one that I wanted to ask today, so there's really no middle ground, but just the why for where you would go is, if you had to pick between one, speed or strength, you can't have both. Both really powerful, like tools. Like, it would be nice to have both, but let's say you have to give up speed, but you're really strong, or you have to give up strength and you're really fast. Which one would you lean to? Which one would you pick? And most importantly, why?
That's a trick question.
They're all three questions, but I just want to know why you pick one.
Everything is both important.
Very important.
Yeah, they work hand in hand. So I usually like to play the devil's advocate. Maybe that's a lawyer in me speaking. Speed would help you get there faster, but strength, you need the strength
to break through walls.
To actually get there, the agility or whatever the dictionary word, how it's pronounced. I think I'll pick strength.
You pick strength. Like, yes. Why? That's just basically.
The why is because I like to paint a picture. Like, if I'm going on a destination or a journey, or maybe I have set goals, I have plans. And this is, I want to break through. I want to see the light at the end of the tunnel. I want to achieve this project. I want to achieve this dream. Would I want to get there speedily? Or do I want to gradually walk the steps and get to the destination and build the strength along the way, or save my strength
and use it accordingly?
Exactly, to be able to get to the destination. Because everything in life is a process. I like quoting the Bible.
Let's quote one.
The race is not the fastest, not the battle to the strongest. Or how do they say? But to the Lord that shows mercy. The race is not to the swiftest, not the battle to the strongest.
Yeah.
But it's to the world. Yeah. So if you're running the race and you feel, oh, if I get there first, then I wear the crown. Or if I need this speed to get there first so that I can wear the crown, it's like a marathon.
So you're saying you prefer a marathon, the building of endurance, stamina, strength over a long distance, than getting 400 meters so quick?
I'll take the strength, because the strength builds along the way, builds the character along the way for you to get to that destination. The speed, and it makes me reflect fast life. Like, do you just want to get there because everybody's getting there? Do you just want to buy that house when everybody's buying? Do you just want to do pure water business because everybody's doing it? Do you just want to buy those new sneakers because everybody is buying it now? No.
And I kind of appreciate that answer. For me, it's usually the why.
This is me, personal opinion. No right, no wrong. Just
absolutely
to each his own.
I think they're both very necessary.
Because I need my strength to keep.
Yeah.
What if I break down along the way?
But
while I'm speeding.
But the thing is, you're already there if you get there fast. So it's all this thing that if you have one. Yeah, because the way I look at it is that if you get there fast, you'll be there, but now you're exhausted, you're tired. So which one do you want? Or you have the strength because you get there. Now you get there. It takes you longer, but now you're there.
You have the strength to enjoy your.
But it took you longer. You see the thing, but you have the strength to enjoy it.
Why I chose strength? So would you choose strength too? Not because I chose strength. I mean, you could.
For me, I'm a more of a long game kind of guy. So I would usually
get into real estate. Longer.
I'm more of a longer. Yeah, the short term is nice, but I think if you, as I said, if you run really fast, and one thing I don't like about the idea of speed too is one thing I always say with speed is that you're not seeing what's happening around you.
You just want to get there.
And when you're going really fast, like I make this analogy because I'm a sports guy. I always say this thing that fast guys don't know what's happening around them. Like people, I always say like fast soccer players are the worst goal scorers, and it's not because they can't score. It's because by the time they run so fast, they're no longer focused. Their composure is lower. They're just everything happens so quickly. They get there, but finishing now becomes so. How I kind of look at it is that speed is nice. You get there quickly, but you miss.
So
what's
can I ask you a
around.
funny trick question? I don't know if you had the opportunity to watch the was it the 100 meters race, the last Olympic?
The Olympics, yeah.
Was it a Cal or was
Noah Lyles and
the other Jamaican guy? So what do you think won when they were like
when they,
it's still a bone of contention till tomorrow?
One thing I always say,
So what do you think won first? Answer the question.
Whatever the technology said.
It was a technologically driven answer, correct?
Exactly. So for me, I always say this thing that there are two very fast men. One came first or second. Whoever won is whoever the rules got there first based on
because
the
even
rules.
Noah, that's his name.
Noah Lyles,
It was, I think he didn't first jubilate at first because he didn't know if he actually won.
Oh yes, he didn't.
I watched that thing like 10 times trying to understand, but I think it was technologically driven.
Yes, but we play under it.
Because the Jamaican guy was very surprised. Was it the guy from Jamaica? I think it's from Jamaica. I think the other guy. I can't remember.
I can't remember his name right now, but I remember the Noah Lyles guy because he talks a lot. So sometimes when you talk a lot, people remember you. It's a weird thing, but
he's a determined guy.
Yeah, but I always say we play under a set of rules. I personally don't judge or look at myself based on the result of the rule set. I kind of look and judge myself based on how much effort and how good I am. But if we have to judge based on rules, I'm fine with whatever rules that has been done. So if you came into the tournament knowing that there's technology that determines who is first, whatever that technology says is the winner. It's like I go into a game, if there's a referee and the referee tells me I didn't win, I lost. If the referee say I won, I beat your ass. So for me, when we play in a world of rules and there is fair competition, whatever the rules are, I play by that, and I'm fine with the result. So
strength over speed.
Yes, strength over speed. For me,
same thing. I agree.
Yeah, strength over speed. But I wouldn't lie. Even though I say strength over speed, I love speed.
That's good.
It's almost like low-key, you love speed.
Max Verstappen.
Yeah.
Lewis
Hamilton. I love speed, but I know it's not good for me.
Anyway, City, thank you very much for giving me the opportunity to come on your show today. No right, no wrong.
I really, really appreciate it.
Very insightful, very entertaining, and please feel free to call me anytime for more interesting episodes.
Absolutely.
I'll be willing to lend my voice and I give my candid opinion and keep up the good work.
I really, really appreciate doing this. There's a lot of words here that are absolutely valuable. Thank you so much, Folusho. I appreciate it. Basically got to everything we wanted to talk about. I know it's a little bit long for the audience here. I'm going to try to break it up into little bits so that people can actually get all that information in. Thank you so much. Folusho, any final words about this in terms of the conversation we've had? Do you have any final sayings that you want to actually leave with the people?
I'll make a fresh final cheeky comment. Winter is coming, girl.
If you're in Canada, you understand that winter is coming,
girl. Get
Stay
your
warm,
winter,
guys.
Stay warm. Get your winter boots. Get your winter jacket. And I mean, it's been interesting. I mean, the journey. Everybody's journey is different. Everybody's aspirations, dreams are different. But one thing I would always say: focus on your focus. Make yourself happy. Whatever makes you happy, pursue it. If you need to have a mentor, the importance of mentorship cannot be overemphasized. I mean, one of the greatest, and sorry if this is taking so long in terms of my final commentary, I'll just tell a story because I like to tell stories.
Absolutely.
Very important experience. One of the greatest things that gives me joy being in Canada for 6 years is the ability to be able to look back and say that I've created an impact on somebody's life, like day in, day out. Like I used to be on a lot of social media, but no longer on social media. I got tired of scrolling actually. I was like, you know what? And social media is good, trust me.
It has its benefits.
I said, you know what? I'd rather use that time to spend more time on LinkedIn and help somebody that needs mentorship. And one of the greatest joy for me of being impactful is when people reach out to me on LinkedIn and say, oh, I see that you've worked in this bank. I saw that you were in this bank from this year to this year. I have an interview in that bank. And guess what? Someone reached out to me yesterday. I get all those kind of calls all the time. Can I please call you? What are the tricks and tips that you can give me? What can you tell me about the bank? Or how can I prepare for my interview to increase my chances? Those are the best moments for me. The ability to impact someone, or when somebody's saying, okay, can you refer me for this job? Do you know somebody in this industry?
Yeah.
Those are the best moments for me. So be impactful in whatever you do. You never can tell who needs that help, who needs that support. And for me, a communal spirit, the strength in numbers.
Absolutely.
And I love this saying, teamwork makes dream work. Team, together, everybody achieves more. You never can tell who needs help. Just reach out.
I'm going to say that one more time, guys. Together, everybody
achieves more.
Together, everybody achieves more. I actually got something. That's a great way to look at team. And I know, as you said, that this is taking too longer. I don't mind asking this question.
No, it's okay.
Thousands of times.
It's okay, please.
As somebody who would be in a position to mentor people, what do you require from the people that actually reach out for help? I think this is very important for someone like me, looking at
me.
Like, what do you require from these people?
I'm very, very blunt.
Okay.
First thing I'll tell you, I'm not going to look for a job for you. I'm not going to look for, like everybody say, oh, Folusho, I hear you're in Canada. How can I come to Canada? Guess what? When I was doing my research about coming to Canada, I'll tell you one funny story. I know I told you to buy a story.
Yeah.
I did not have a laptop, personal laptop to browse. I did not have any internet modem. I kid you not. Because I wanted to learn a lot and I wanted concentration, I used to go to the office, my office back there in Nigeria, on Saturday to go and use the internet and to seclude myself, to read about these things, to study and find direction. So my first advice, do the research first. Even anything in life like banking, they will tell you, do the pre-plan, do the pre-work, do the research first and say, oh, Folusho or City or whatever the case, I want to study in Canada. This and this and these are the steps that I've taken. I've researched schools. I've seen that, okay, this tuition is better here, tuition is cheaper here. This I want to, but people like to be spoon-fed. They don't. So if you're telling me to, like you're coming to advise to about getting a job, I'll ask you, where have you applied to? Have you gone on the website of the bank that I currently work in or the bank that I've worked before to check what are the openings? What is the requisition number? If I've not done those things, I'm saying, like, people reach out to me, well, I'm still looking for a job. I'm not an employment agency. Do you understand? But I can point you in the right direction and say, okay, yeah, I've applied. So do the pre-work first.
And what I'm hearing,
do the legwork first.
What I'm hearing from what you're saying is that you're saying the most important thing, if someone is going to guide you through something, is at the end of the day, you got to do the work. It's not about being spoon-fed or everything coming together.
Even
perfectly.
If it's 7% or 10% of the work over 100, just do it.
Absolutely.
Just do it.
Yeah. Nike, just do it. Thank you so much, Folusho.
We're going to have a lot of sponsorships.
Nike,
Equifax.
well. Just do it anyway. Do something. And one thing you said so much that I also want to leave with the audience at the end, because if you watch till the end of this podcast, kudos to you. Absolutely. But there's something you absolutely said that I think is very important, but people don't understand what it means. I've said this in a previous podcast where I talked about luck, And I don't think luck is what people term it to be. You make kind of your luck, because a lot of luck is preparation. We're meeting opportunity. A lot of people are not prepared for opportunity. It's like, today we're going to be giving out a grant for $10,000 to small businesses, and you know about it, but you have no ongoing small business,
and you don't even
doing anything.
You don't even have a presentation speech.
Yes.
You don't have anything.
You don't have a presentation page.
You don't have a one pager.
You've never registered a business before, and this opportunity comes, and you're like, they didn't give it to me. Of course, they're not going to give it to you.
Brings me to a very important point. And trust me, I like what you said. Anybody that listens to this podcast will get a lot of information. Everybody should have an elevator pitch.
Just waiting.
Because you know what? You can just run into the CEO of Amazon. Tell me about yourself. What are the things you're going to say in
5 minutes?
10 seconds. Minutes, get.
Seconds. Okay.
5 seconds
like
that will sell yourself.
Yep.
Like I always say that every job I've gotten as a commercial banker in Canada, my first statement is, my name is Folusho Iyaniwura. I have 10 years or 15 years or 12 years commercial banking experience. They know that you're a commercial banker.
Yep. You've put a lot of information in very quick time.
To sell yourself.
Absolutely.
Everybody should have an elevator pitch.
Another one. Preparation meets opportunity. That means good things are coming to you. And also, everyone should have an elevator pitch in less than 10 seconds. You should be able to summarize your skills, your talents, what you bring to the table, and always sell yourself. Thank you, everyone that actually watched this. Thank you so much, Folusho.
Thank you very much for having me.
This was an absolutely great podcast. Don't forget, if you're watching and you got to this part of the podcast, I appreciate you guys. Don't forget to subscribe.
And leave your comments as well.
I want to also get comments. If you have questions for Folusho, he will probably be looking at the comment section, and
feel free to
reach out as well. I would also be in the comment section if you have any comments, any questions, or anything like that on the podcast. I appreciate everyone that listens to this. Hopefully this brought a lot of value to you guys. This is No Right, No Wrong. My name is CT. Thank you so much. Peace.
Thanks, CT.